And welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, September 15th, 2015. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. 40 residents of Fancy yesterday received offer letters for them to buy state lands at 50 cents per square foot. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says this entwines with his government's mission to ensure that Vincentians not only have the basic human right of housing, but also that the structures are affordable and of acceptable standard for living. The Prime Minister says this is also his administration's way of showing that it loves and cares for the people.
Housing is a basic human right. And what you have to strengthen that by saying is that affordable housing of a minimum standard, acceptable standard, is a fundamental human right. Affordable housing of a minimum acceptable standard is a fundamental human right. And the minimum acceptable standard means that it must be a properly ventilated house. It must be built to withstand at least 75 miles per hour winds.
Dr. Gonsalves further states that his government continues to demonstrate that it cares by ensuring that it provides assistance to help repair and replace homes that have been damaged by natural disasters.
And that is why we have taken certain initiatives. We have built some 1,500 low-income houses across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have built houses to replace those damaged by storms, 200 and something houses. We have repaired on the spot or rebuilt on the spot several hundred more. And we have given out millions of dollars worth of building materials.
Minister of Housing Montgomery Daniel says that his administration through his ministry is also ensuring that the state lands are not haphazardly squatted upon, but that there is regularization.
This ministry would have taken on this task vigorously to ensure that there are the regularization of state lands throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Why? Because over the years, there has been numerous problems as individuals would have occupied state lands, where in some cases persons have to walk in other persons' lands. In some cases, there is very little access.
Opposition spokesperson on agriculture and the MP for North Leeward, Roland Patel Matthews, says that to effectively deal with hunger and undernourishment in SVG, there has to be a proper organization of resources which will allow the country to achieve the alignment of a whole society. Matthews noted that the public and private sector has to be in alignment with policies that would contribute to enhancing the development of the nation.
Ensuring alignment for a cause requires social commitment, participation and inclusion, and therefore civil society needs to play a major role in the way forward, bringing new ideas, participating in the process of transforming the entire society. When we recognize our role as parliamentarians to address zero hunger, we need to think outside the box, being innovative and creative, we need to be very critical and strategic for ensuring the accomplishment of our mission. This is why when we look at eradicating hunger, we need to be aware of the international context, the risks that are present in our society. We need to analyze global and regional trends in terms of the different dimensions of food and nutrition security, etc.
The Unity Labour Party's or ULP candidate for West Kingstown and the lone female candidate in the upcoming general elections, Debbie Charles, is promising to drive out what she describes as the NDP's yellow hate. Charles, who was speaking at a ULP event in Redemption Shops last Sunday, says the ULP love will continue to cleanse what she termed as the division and hatred created by the NDP.
When love would come to cleanse the NDP's hate that's stifling the heart of Kingston, the day's just around the corner. I see the light through the yellow haze of hatred that shrouds this nation's very heart. Yes, the yellow mist is becoming clear, comrades. In the east, I see a rising sun. Luke Brown has found his stride, and Arnhem is running wild in desperation.
Captain out, all man out.
And I can confidently tell you that I, Teacher Debbie, will drive the yellow haze of hate out of West Kingston.
Captain out, all man out.
House to house, door to door, face to face, vote by precious vote. That's how it's done. There's no substitute for hard work and the love.
And the ULP's candidate for East Kingstown, Senator Luke Brown, says his party will put his opponent, opposition leader Arnhem Eustace, into political retirement when he defeats the East Kingstown MP. Brown says the accusations by Eustace that ULP supporters have been illegally registering and transferring is something that the NDP is guilty of.
We are going to put Arnhem Eustace into political retirement. We are going to end the days of dismal representation by Mr. Eustace. And as the song says, Captain out, all man out. Captain out! Captain out! On radio. And to accuse people of wrongfully registering East Kingston when they are the ones who are above board with that matter. And remember, in the last elections, they tied me up in court. They tied me up in court and take away precious time from our campaign. And as the truth became known, we understand who the guilty parties are with respect to that.
And social and political activist Clive Bishop is accusing the ruling Unity Labour Party, or the ULP, of being a socially oppressive party. Speaking on the opposition New Democratic Party's platform at the launch of the party's South Leeward constituency office on Saturday night, Bishop says the divisive tactics of the ULP is killing the spirit of Vincentians.
Even the water you're drinking sometimes is hard for go down your throat out in herd. Then herd. Today in St. Vincent we are experiencing the most socially and racially oppressive period since the war against the Garifuna people in 1795. Don't doubt that. Most oppression black people feeling since 1795 is now. Today we experience the colonial policy of divide and rule. People want to divide you all between husband and wife, brother and sister, father and mother. And it is the highest level since a man named Willie Lynch introduced it in Barbados in the 17th century during slavery.
Bishop also accuses the government of pretending to love the people by its Labour Love slogan.
So how they express this love? How they express the love? They wouldn't pay Paul Marcus for property. They love it, not to pay him. They shut down beggar bigs. All equipment tell me they're rotten. We love to see it rotten. They fire 83 Port Police one time, the home care work. We love to see you come into bed, Papa. Yeah, the love. Pure myth and false policies. They have no love for the people, but love for themselves. Next myth, we have an education revolution. As the youth and them say, duh. Where is it? How does it improve? How has this revolution improved us socially and economically in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? If we had an education revolution, you think he could have presented 4 straight deficit budgets? Well, like he still ain't going to the revolution?
In more local news, it is time for the policymakers here to begin crafting a modern framework for the fire department to become a single entity with its own administrative control. That is according to former politician Burton Williams, who was speaking as a panelist on last Sunday's Hits Talk, where the topic for discussion was based around the recent fires affecting 3 government buildings in capital Kingstown and whether or not the fire department should be separated from the RSVG police force and staffing increased to improve its response and service to the country. According to Williams, the fire department should be rebranded as Fire and Rescue, as in other countries worldwide.
The description of the fire service rather than fire and rescue. We have become familiar in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the fire department. We all refer to it as the fire department, and the more modern nomenclature that is ascribed to such a service is fire and rescue. Now, I do believe that the description of the particular service has a lot to do with how it is being administered and how it is being, the level of importance that is given to it. So, I'm of the opinion that we ought to begin to view the fire service not just as having to out fires, but rather as having a critical role to play in the whole question of saving lives, protecting lives and property, and saving lives.
Tourism consultant Vera Ann Brayton says there is a need for more fire escapes on government buildings and other infrastructure where persons are employed.
The equipment, when I look at the amount of different types of equipment that's necessary, all I can say is that it must be difficult to keep up with the change in design instructions and so forth, but it must be done. I am concerned about the absence of fire escapes in many of the old buildings and some new buildings, and I do support the separation of fire and rescue services. And as a tourism professional now, speaking of the importance of the state of the fire and rescue service to investors and investment.
Some 20 students from North Leeward will benefit from a $10,000 bursary through the Access to a College Education Program, or ACEP. The initiative was established by lawyer and the ruling Unity Labour Party candidate for North Leeward, Carlos James, in 2014 to provide financial assistance to persons to further their tertiary education. At a media conference earlier today at the Professional Secretariat School, James says he has teamed up with the North Leeward non-profit organization Generation Next, which has also been providing similar assistance to persons in the area. He says the students selected will be given financial assistance based on their individual needs and encourage them to keep focused and strive for excellence.
And I'm happy to see some of the faces here that they're now benefiting from the Access to College Education Program. And I want to really say to the students here, I am proud of you. I know your parents are proud of you, your communities are proud of you, and I'm seeing faces as far from Fitzhugh right to Spring Village. And I'm really happy and I'm pleased and I'm touched that each and every one of you are going to become model citizens. You are going to reach far, you're going to excel, and I'm encouraging you to stay on the right path and be focused. Because what we're doing here, and what Generation Next and myself, what we're doing here, is we're giving you a foundation or a start where you can also step up and advance yourself academically.
James says he is proud that the money for the initiative came from his own pocket as well as others who are in partnership with his mission.
And I want to make it very clear that I am not being assisted in any way by the government with the resources that are being provided. And I know that we'll have critics who will say, well, Mr. James is being helped by the government. That is why he's doing so well, working with young people and putting on these programs in North Leeward. But every single cent that you see here being handed over to these students are hard-working dollars that came from my pocket and from the assistance of persons who believe in me and believe that in the work that I'm doing in North Leeward. And I want to make that very clear. These students, no doubt, are in need of more assistance. And there are more students like these who are here. And I want to encourage, again, the business community. We have a social responsibility. We have a social corporate responsibility. And let us see how we can work together. Let us have that partnership in assisting students, in particular, from vulnerable communities north of the Dry River in North Windward, for instance, and in North Leeward in the constituency where I'm from.
Representative from Generation Next, Kiwama Edwards, says her organization is pleased to collaborate with James and that such a venture demonstrates that there are people out there who are still willing to invest in the youth.
Allowing you to soar. And so we at Generation Next, we are really thankful to Mr. James for initiating such a program, because there are many young persons who would have been unable to attend college because of the lack of finances. But now that there's an avenue to aid them via this means, you now can realize your dreams, you can realize your hopes. So it is my prayer that this serves as an encouragement, as a boost to you. There are persons looking out for you. Many persons say that our nation is filled with so much negativity, but today is proof that there are still persons who are concerned about you as young people, and that there are still persons willing to help you to accomplish your dreams. Do not let it go to waste.
Some of the students who will be benefiting from the bursary expressed their appreciation and took the opportunity to share their aspirations.
My name is Makifo Davis from Chateaubriand, and I hope to flourish through this initiative to be progressive.
And what do you hope to become, and what subjects areas are you doing?
I am doing most of the subjects available at the college, and I want to be a judge.
From Rosebank, and I do associate degree in business studies.
And how you feel about something like this, Mr. James giving you this help?
Well, I feel overwhelmed about it, because a gift like this is going to be beneficial.
I am a student of this technical vocational education. I pursue studying the culinary arts program. I do subjects, culinary arts program. I do subjects like sanitation and hygiene, food prep, baking technology. This is so because I plan on becoming a world-renowned chef in the near future.
Something like this, the initiative that Mr. James is doing, do you see it as being very profound? How do you see it?
Yes, very much so, because it helps people who are in need, like myself.
How do you feel about something like this?
My name is Sweeter Robertson. I'm very grateful for the little help.
Sweeter, you got in an accident years ago. Has this stopped you in any way?
Not really.
So what are you doing? What are you pursuing now?
Well, literature, English literature and sociology for CAPE this year, and I'm hoping to become a psychologist. So
why a psychologist?
Because, well, I like to help people like me who go through the same thing.
39-year-old Jawanza Charles, a laborer of Paul's Avenue, has been arrested and charged for the offense of attempted murder on 53-year-old Jeffrey Edwards of Lago Heights on January 4th, 2015. Edwards is said to have sustained a single stab wound to his back on the date in question. Charles was escorted before Chief Magistrate Rayshan Brown on Monday, September 14th, and was not allowed to plead to the indictable charge. Chief Prosecutor Adolphus Delpesh had no objection to his bail, which was allowed in the sum of $20,000 with one surety. He was ordered to surrender his travel documents to the court and not to leave the state without the express permission of the court. He is also to report to the Central Police Station on Mondays and Thursdays between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. until December 14th, 2015, when a date is expected to be set for the preliminary inquiry. And Dorian Mapp, a 23-year-old laborer of Victoria Village, is now before the court on two separate charges of robbery and assault, causing actual bodily harm on Irma Peters of Prospect on September 10th, 2015. Mapp is accused of arming himself with a screwdriver and deprived Peters of one handbag containing a cell phone, cash, and other articles valued at approximately $369. Mapp appeared at the Serious Offences Court on Monday, September 14th, 2015, and was not allowed to plead to the two charges. He was remanded into custody until December 14th, when the date is expected to be set for the preliminary inquiry.